Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to another video. It's not a what I eat in a day video, or a weighing video, or a thoughts before weighing video, or anything like that. No, this is a kind of my journey over the last 2 years of losing what a lot of people deem an incredible £150. £150 down, so I am fighting back from my heaviest, where I was £555, or 39 stone 9 pound, down to where I am today, which currently, as of Tuesday the 2nd of September 2025, I am currently 28 stone 12 pounds. So yeah, £151 down in total. And yeah, really enjoying what I'm doing. Obviously, we're going to chart out the history of my journey throughout, and this will be broken up in parts all the way throughout the video, because I'll be doing it when I've got time over the coming days. So yeah, we shall get into it. And first things first, let's have a little bit of a backstory. So growing up, and I'll put one or two embarrassing photos on. As a kid, as a toddler, I wasn't really a big kid. Although I was blonde, don't hate. But yeah, I wasn't a big kid. I didn't really eat a lot. But I came from a religious family that said prayer before every meal, and eating or consuming said meal was a thing that we had to do before we left the dinner table, because once it was provided for us, then we should take gratitude in eating it. So yeah, it was kind of a very modern 90s upbringing, although be a little old school. So all the way through primary school into secondary school, I wasn't the biggest, although I was one of the tallest in the group throughout school. I was standing at 6 foot tall, and yeah, I kind of managed my weight as a teenager very, very well. Never had a problem with overeating, never had a problem with anything whatsoever, and actually I still don't have a problem with overeating, because even 3 meals a day to me leaves me bloated and quite full a lot of the time. So yeah, I do struggle quite a lot of the time to have 2 to 3 meals a day. But you will see in this little photo here, this was me as a teenager. So this was me as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old I think I was. You're a wizard, Harry. Kind of one of those things where, as you can see, I still wasn't overweight, heavy, all that type of stuff. And then there was a big journey ahead of me, which was very mentally draining, I should say. And that was my father passed away in front of me, whilst looking after myself and my 2 younger siblings. And what ensued on a night in a very cold December was him having a heart attack, collapsing in the kitchen, and then me on the phone to the paramedics trying to give CPR whilst also looking after my 2 younger siblings that didn't have a clue what was really going on. And that kind of threw me a little bit, and the weight kind of started going on. At that time, carbonated drinks really wasn't a thing in my life. Maybe the odd kind of little shandy bass or something, as a youngster, where you think, oh, look at me, I'm drinking alcohol, because that's where it was back then. But yeah, I kind of took comfort in carbonated drinks, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, all that type of stuff. And that was kind of my little comfort thing. I know a lot of people tend to either go to food or they go to other things that generally aren't good for us, and it just turned out that mine was carbonated drinks, which I got extremely addicted to. And by the time of my prom, I'd already put on quite a bit of weight, which you will see here. I have blurred out the face of a girl that's in the photo, for obvious reasons. And yeah, kind of, I started to increase in weight, mainly down to the carbonated drinks. Still, food wasn't a issue for me, and yeah, I kind of spiraled into 10, 12 cans of pop a day, and then from cans of pop it went to bottles of pop, and then from small bottles of pop it went on to energy drinks, and that kind of led me all the way through my 20s, kind of growing in size, as you would think. And then, even though I was working and I maintained it quite well, the pounds were already starting to show. And it wasn't until, I think it was in 2018, I did a load of things with the media, so ITV News, BBC Radio, Look North, and it was all about childhood obesity through sugary drinks, basically, and that was the start of the sugar tax, which obviously at the time I was a huge fan of the sugar tax. I thought it was going to do much more than what it has done. Didn't know that the government was just going to use it just as another tax and not actually spend the money where it should be, but that's another issue altogether. And then in 2019, I had a chance encounter with a lovely lad called Ryan, who just turned out to be a Slim and Well consultant, and he'd said to me, "Why not come down, Luke? Come down, don't feel embarrassed. I am one of the male consultants in the Northeast. There wasn't many of them. I still don't think there is many of them. But at the time, I just went, you know what, let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's see if I can, on my own, sort out this issue of me drinking carbonated drinks and lose some weight in the process." So, I'll get a drink and I'll come back. So I walked through the doors of Ryan's Slim World group and stood on the scales, and at the time I was 24 stone 8 pound, which was still rather large. Let's face it, 24 stone isn't a small number to face on the scales. However, at the time, I kind of needed the motivation to just continue getting walking, and I knew after a few pound off that that would kind of spur me into things. The mindset was already changing. Ryan was fantastic. I don't know if Ryan watches anymore because he's no longer a Slimwell consultant, but yeah, the pep talks, the messages, the kind of you can do it cheerleader kind of on the side, and yeah, that really changed my life, so much so I made the news once again for losing weight, and throughout a small period of time I was part of my council's health and wellbeing board. I was a elected councillor at the time, an independent, don't worry, and yeah, I kind of tried to spur on the council to start pushing more information and things out there about obesity and how people can get help and all that type of stuff. But through that period, and this was just before that global situation happened, I started to hit 20,000 steps per day. So On average, it was between 20 and 25,000 steps every day. I forced myself out of the house every morning, walk down to the river, good 15-20 minute walk around the river, that was another hour and a half, enter one of the local nature reserves, have a little go around there, little walk, take some photos, and I did that every single day for quite some time, for about a year at least. And then Ryan had left Slimmer World. A new consultant had took over, which is now the current consultant that I am with. And then the global situation happened when I was down to 19.5 stone, 20 stone. And then I kind of took offence a little bit that Slim World at the time wanted to charge people to weigh at home. I didn't think that was right, so I kind of left the plan and still carried on eating healthily and doing all that type of stuff. And then illness kind of hit me. Something had changed drastically. Small portions, everything. I was just bloated constantly. Everything I ate, everything I drank, I just felt lousy, drained, and yeah, kind of didn't know what was going on with me, but because we were where we were at the time, I refused to go to hospital, because we all know what reports and all that were coming out of hospital at the time. So yeah, I just let it go. I let it go for about 2 years, and over the course of that 2 years, I ended up being bedbound. I ended up putting on over 16 stone in weight, and yet something was seriously wrong. It turns out that I had an infection within my pancreas. My insulin maker that it is was creating far too much insulin, and at the grand height of almost 40 stone, I was carrying around a rather large sugar store, and because test after test after test had shown that I hadn't had diabetes, there was a doctor from Gisborne Hospital, a consultant within obesity from India, and he kind of had seen something similar before, and it turns out I haven't got the diabetic gene. So all the tests that I kept getting sent on, I used to try and sabotage the tests. I would drink like a 2-litre bottle of pop an hour or two before I went to get my bloods done for diabetes, because I knew there was something wrong, something wasn't adding up, because at the time I was still addicted to carbonated drinks, and I was easing my way off the energy drinks. And yeah, it's only by chance that this one doctor at a local hospital knew something similar, and yeah, no one ever before asked to kind of check my genetics, whether or not you got diabetes. Apparently it's kind of like the same test for when people check for like cancer markers and stuff like that. Some people carry it, some people don't, and yeah, I was like a pincushion for quite a while. So that all happened, and then I was still working, albeit getting up at 6 a.m, going to work, struggling all day. I used to sit on a chair in front of the grill within the kitchen, flipping eggs, doing bacon, doing burgers, doing everything else. and that was it me coping? I'm not sure if it was me coping or just the fact that I was surviving in the family business, and yeah, I needed to kind of stay active all the time, and that was my one way of doing so. So yeah, kind of a very sorry state that for a long time when we first, because we had a catering company first, I had street food businesses. I had a 100% healthy soup business, which I started on farmers markets. I then went to Indian food, street food, all that type of stuff. And then obviously during the situation, that thing happened. Kind of everything was closed down. The government at the time made an announcement that coffee shops and things could still open because they are a value part of the community. So I opened up a coffee kiosk. And at the time, I used to struggle around, used to constantly sit, stand up, serve customers, do all that stuff. But yeah, the weight wasn't getting any better. So, even though at the time I was like saying I was bedbound, basically I was bedbound but still going to work, albeit I was sat down for many, many hours. And then something clicked, I'd gone on holiday and I needed to use a mobility scooter to get around. I never thought I would need to use a mobility scooter, especially not at the age of, 32, 33. And yeah, I couldn't walk a great distance at all, which I've put a photo here. And yeah, it was kind of embarrassing, to say the least, that I'm a 30-odd-year-old and here I am doing a pub crawl in Spain on a mobility scooter, kind of feeling sorry for myself and all that type of stuff. So I made the decision. I was pondering for quite a while about how to go about it. I wasn't getting anywhere with the GP at the time, wasn't getting anywhere with the hospitals. So I went back to that little plan that worked for me in the first place, where I lost 6 stone, and that was Slim and World. So I went back to the plan. I got out the recipe books, I got out the spare weekly food diaries that I had, and I just started doing the plan once again. And I think over the course of about 2.5 months, I'd lost 3 stone. And then it was by a very chance encounter that at the same time my local NHS was taking in new clients through what they call the Strive, which is basically the weight loss journey throughout the NHS, the bariatric side of things, and I was invited to a meeting that I forced myself. I didn't actually get an invite. I kind of forced it upon them to invite me, and I kind of jumped through 2 hurdles that you would normally go through just because of the severity of my obesity. I had sleep apnea at the time. I still have a CPAP machine. I don't use it as often, but very occasionally I still do need to use it. Still need to get it out, power it up and that type of stuff. But I forced basically the NHS to do the job. So yeah, that was kind of the start of this current journey that I am at now. and that was the first day kind of within the NHS, within their little system. I'll put up a little letter here. And I was like 35 stone, 7 pound, I think I was, 35 and a half stone. And I'd already lost quite considerably before then. At that stage, when I joined the program, I could walk 5, 10, 15 minutes, which prior to that, at my heaviest, I was doing like 200 steps a month, literally out of bed to the car, from the car into work, sat down all day, work, car, house, bed, that type of thing. So yeah, kind of went from 200 steps a month to doing a lot more, working a lot more myself, and at the time they were concerned for me, really concerned. The consultant, another consultant that seen me after a series of tests, after a series of things that had gone wrong, medically that is, pronounced that I was probably only going to have 3 years to live. And because of my weight, surgery wasn't an option. They couldn't do it. They would not risk it. So at that point, I think they just give up, basically. I think they just thought, that's it, this lad's probably going to die within a couple of years. We're not going to operate on him. It's too risky to do that. And yeah, that was a very, very scary moment to be in. Obviously it would be. But when you get the feeling that you're kind of helpless and no one else is actually going to do anything for you, then you kind of feel more pressure and things. Yeah, it was just tricky. It was just a tricky situation. So I didn't give up. I powered on. So I've gone from the start of this journey, 39 stone 7, plus the little bit before then. I don't know what I lost before then, because let's face it, the scales, normal scales and stuff like that don't go that high. But it was 39.7 when I first started to take account of this journey. I was 35.7 when I started within the NHS thing, when they told me basically I was just going to die. And I thought, you know what, it's now or never. It's now or never. Got to do it myself. And yeah, I just took that Slim and Well plan and made it my own. Everything was food optimized all the way through. And the next time the GP seen me, I was 2 stone lighter. And at the time, the surgeon said, you know what, let's try and put a balloon in. Let's put a gastric balloon in. Let's see what you can do with the balloon, and we'll take it from there. So I was like, okay, not a problem. The balloon went in on the 30th of October 2023, and for 1 whole year the balloon was in, I lost 2 stone. It affected my mental health. It didn't help whatsoever. I was getting stomach cramps, stomach pains, the whole lot, but they were determined that we will leave it in. And I have to say that the team at the hospital were horrendous. I got the nutritional information for the 12 days. Post-operation came after the 12-day. You know, it was no use to me. I'd already gone through the liquid stage for a few days. It was actually, I was in hospital for 3 days. After they put the balloon in, I came out of hospital, I was 13 pound down, and then it was just a very slow, and I don't know what happened. Portion sizes wasn't big. I think I was hoping for a lot more, and it kind of just sent me into a dark place where I was thinking it wasn't actually worth the risk of them doing a surgery to put a balloon in. And I just really struggled, absolutely struggled. Day to day, things would not happen for me. And at the time, halfway through 6-month stage, I went back and seen the surgeon, to which he kind of instructed me, don't you think you should go swimming and exercise a bit more, and then maybe you will lose weight, because just eating food won't let you lose weight itself, because you're not that type of person. And that totally peed me off. I don't want to swear, but there's quite a lot of choice words that were said at the time. If it wasn't embarrassing enough to be that size, to then be told, why don't you go to your local pool and swim a little bit, fatty? Kind of, yeah, really impacted my mental health, and for a few months I just couldn't be bothered. Could not be bothered. The balloon was there. I was sick of the balloon. I was sick of being part of the NHS thing. And yeah, I just got totally fed up. So it was November the 1st last year, 2024. I got the balloon took out. They said everything went well, no complications, nothing else. However, what took 7 minutes for a balloon to go in, apparently I was knocked out for an hour, and everything was fine. But there's still no reason why I was knocked out for an hour, because I'd already lost 2 stone with the balloon in. So my airways were much better condition than before, but we won't dwell on it. So, following then, actually, I'll get a drink and then we'll come straight back. Yeah, so also at this time, so between getting the balloon took out and rejoining Slimming World, a lot of to and fro were going on between the hospital and the GP, back and forth, around starting me on the semaglutide injections, i.e. Ozempic. And it turns out that neither the NHS nor the GP wanted to fund giving me weight loss injections, despite having a BMI of over 60, plus having sleep apnea, and meeting the criteria for that. But neither one of them wanted to fund injections, so we kind of came to a stump that something had to happen. And yeah, I'll actually put on a little photo here of the text message, because that's all it was. And yeah, as they say, the rest is history when it comes to that point. So yeah, I'll finish it off in a second because I've got a customer. Okay folks, we are actually getting there. We are getting there at some point. So yeah, following on from what I was saying, I came out of the balloon removal, and I was 32 stone 11 pound. And yeah, 7 days later, I walked through the door of my Slimming World club after contacting the consultant and asking, what does the scale go up to, because I'm a rather large gentleman. And I don't want the embarrassment really of walking through the door and then kind of being told, oh sorry, you're a bit too heavy for our scales. So walked through the door, sat down. I already knew a couple of the faces there because they were there when I was there previously. And obviously Debbie knew me from back before the COVID situation happened. And that was in November last year. And then since then, I've gone on and I've lost close to 4 stone. Just basically doing everything myself, basically. The family, they are supportive, but they kind of do their own thing. Most of them, they just like takeaways, they like fast food, they like the things that I can't really have on plan. And not that I want them, it's just when I cook, I have to really normally cook for myself. So it makes it a little bit more challenging than normal, really. But yeah, I've been sticking to this plan. I've been doing everything I can. And then last month, or 2 weeks ago it should be, I hit that 150 pound down mark. So I've lost 150 pound. I've gone from 555 pound down to 404 pound, which is what I am at right now. So it's 151 pound. Has it been the easiest 151 pound to lose? Nope. No. It's took a hell of a lot of work, a hell of a lot of ups, downs, everything in between. I lost a huge chunk of time with the gastric ballooning, which was a whole year. And yeah, that 1 year thing with the ballooning, if somebody asked me now, would I suggest that people have a gastric balloon? It really depends on what you want out of it and how strong your willpower is, because it will affect you mentally, I think, before it will physically. And hopefully you'll have like a good care plan in place afterwards. Mine was absolutely shocking, terrible, and yeah, I kind of wish it never happened, and I found out about the Slimming World thing and walked through the doors a year sooner. But it doesn't work like that, does it? So, it's hindsight is an amazing thing at times. But yeah, I've just put it down now to part of the journey. Now, if you remember me saying that I was given 3 years to live, well, basically the date for that passed a couple of weeks ago. So, as long as no final destination stuff happens, I think I'm on the straight and narrow. Now, what do I want for the next year? Well, it's I'm still up in the air about it. So, obviously, because of my weight, I have had to stay within the NHS bariatric team. I've had to go to the hospital every couple of weeks for a checkup, for bloods, for weighing. that type of thing, and I do that all the time. I haven't missed one yet. And yeah, they've kind of now come out of the blue and offered me bariatric surgery, which they refused to when I was kind of at my heaviest. For obvious reasons, they didn't want to risk probably their insurance doing surgery on someone that was that big. So I'm kind of still in two minds about it. I think I'm doing pretty good on my own with Slim World. However, at the minute, I am hitting that plateau. I've hit the plateau. I'm on the plateau. And it's come at like the 11 stone mark. So I'm kind of, in two minds of the direction which I'm going to go in over the next year. But I do know for at least the next 5-6 weeks, I will be Slim and World all the way through. I've got an appointment in 5 weeks' time, again with the surgeons and the bariatric team, and kind of the pressure to have it done is coming more from the family than myself. And yeah, I just think it's going to be very difficult for me. I'm not bothered about the surgery bit. I'm not bothered about the care after that. It's mentally, I'm in a very good place at the moment, and I know the last time I had something to do with the hospital, it wasn't a good feeling. I didn't feel good, and it totally drained everything out of me. But yeah, the family are kind of pushing me for the bariatric surgery. So we shall see. We shall see what a couple of weeks' time holds. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on doing what I'm doing. £150 down. You know, what can I say? It's been hard work. I've gone from 26,000 steps a month a year ago to 170,000 steps last month. I am now up exercising, doing cardio for 60 to 90 minutes every day, whether that's first thing on the morning, during the day, or even I have been known over the last few weeks after work to sit there at 11 o'clock at night and still get the exercise in. So the cardio is working. I've now added weights into the mix. Maybe that's what the last couple of weeks has been, just because I have started to add weights into it. But yeah, it's a milestone. It is a milestone. But I'm more active now and kind of almost to where I was before the situation happened. I'm struggling to hit 10,000 steps every day. I'm doing roughly between 5,500 to 6,000, and I know I shouldn't be upset about that. But yeah, I just want to be a lot further on. But I think we all want that, don't we? I think we all want to be further on down the line than where we are at the moment. So yeah, I've got a lot to think about. I know this video has been an extremely long one, but I've kind of wanted to chart the successes throughout. And actually, I will put a little photo here for when I hit 10 stone down. Actually, if I move over this way. Yeah, at the minute, I am a little bit bloated and things like that, just because I've been at work all day and I've had 3 litres of water. But yeah, the weight loss, the difference is kind of telling, I think anyway. So yeah, I need to really get back to work. I have done this over 2 days, so it took a little bit longer. I know I did publish this in the Losers Club page over on Facebook, and a lot of people said, yes, please put out the video. And yeah, that's exactly what I've done, because you guys are all seeing this, guys and girls and everything in between. Dogs, rabbits, hens, I don't know, you could be a farmer. So yeah, if you just left me on the telly, thank you very much. And if you made it this far, thank you so much. Your comments down below, your comments on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, the group that we've built up, the community that we have now is absolutely amazing. And yeah, I don't want it to stop. So at least for me, I'm hoping that for the next 2 years, I can maybe get another £150 down. I am thinking of doing a lot more the videos, including out and about walking, recording some of my cardio workouts, just openly, generally talking about stuff. But you guys will have to let us know. You folks will have to let us know in the comments. Do you want to see that, or is the what you eat in a day videos enough? Because let's face it, I post every day, and then there's odd videos as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Sorry it's been a long one, and yeah, I will catch you all on another video very soon. Adios.